Oh, hey friends. Josh Yeager, Santa Barbara dog walker and fiduciary governance Jedi. Here doing a dog walk and talk with my buddy Dodger. Hey Dodger! Come here, buddy. There's Dodger. What a good boy. I thought we'd spend a little bit of time talking about what strategies can be done before mom and dad die so that the ultimate settlement of their estate will be efficient. We all recognize that settling estates is frankly a pain in the butt. Oh, did I say that on camera? Sorry. Is difficult, we should say. And there is work that can be done ahead of time that can ease the difficulty in the ultimate administration for the successor trustee / executor, who probably doesn't have a lot of time because they have a day job, because they're the eldest daughter or golfing buddy or a sibling that lives in another state. So I'll spend a little bit of time thinking through the elements of what one would do in kind of a pre-settlement audit. We call it the estate vault. It's the place where all of mom and dad's important stuff get reviewed and stored in anticipation of that day when we wish we had it. So the first thing is recognizing that a process is needed. Merely going to the friendly estate planning attorney and having a nice binder with all the cool tabs set up for you doesn't really mean that the estate plan is ready to go. There's a whole bunch of elements that need to be done after you get the nice binder to make sure that the ultimate administration of the estate is done efficiently and correctly. Now, the first thing that I posit is the most important thing for the estate vault is a balance sheet. A balance sheet is just a list of all the assets that mom and dad have, all the liabilities that they have. This will serve as the cheat sheet for the executor of what needs to be dealt with after mom or dad have passed. And the balance sheet will contain a list of checking accounts, savings accounts, investments, real property, etc. I think one important thing that I've learned from developing these for clients is nothing should go on the balance sheet unless you have a source of truth, unless you can prove absolutely, certainly, for sure that this account exists. I don't know how many times I've seen a balance sheet, or a draft balance sheet I'll call it, where it says mom and dad have a couple of Wells Fargo accounts, but there aren't any account numbers on the balance sheet. So we don't really know. And so I think it's a good idea to go through the process of first creating the balance sheet and then getting a piece of paper that proves that each and every one of the line items on that balance sheet is true. Now, we know that a balance sheet is wrong as soon as you hit print because the assets values change. But when you're doing it for mom and dad, if we do it, let's say once a year, you do an update to a balance sheet, then it's pretty straightforward just to get a copy of the statement, copy of the mortgage, copy of dad's IRA, copy of the life insurance in-force illustration. Each of these things that gives a contact information, account number, current account value, these types of elements of data that the successor trustee is really going to need. So it's mostly about the contact institution and location, and less about do we have down to the penny what mom and dad's assets and liabilities are. So going through that process of looking up all of the different assets and defining that they are indeed true and that we've got a source of truth for each of them to prove that they exist, and you put them all in the estate vault, and then it's ready to go. If mom or dad get hit by a bus, we can pull it out of the estate vault and know what assets we have to deal with as the trustee. Now, there are some things that are put on the balance sheet that ultimately are not part of the estate settlement. These are assets that we call assets that pass free of probate or non-probate assets. So this is anything where there's a beneficiary form, like a life insurance policy or an IRA or a pay on death account, these types of things. Though they are on mom and dad's balance sheet, ultimately they are going to transfer consistent with whatever the beneficiary form says, not by what mom and dad's will or estate plan says. So when collecting the data for assets on the balance sheet, we number one want to get the statement. It says, yeah, this is the deed to dad's house, and indeed we have confirmed that it is owned by the trust, for example. Or this is dad's checking account at Wells Fargo, and we've got the account number and the approximate balance in the account. Or dad's, mom's IRA. In the case of assets that are non-probate assets, it's also a good policy to collect the beneficiary form from the financial institution that you're working with. With all of that data in the estate vault, it'll be much easier for the executor or successor trustee to ultimately settle the estate, because you've already done a bunch of pre-work to know what are the assets that I have to be dealing with. So that's about it for this walk and talk. We'll cover other issues related to what we wish we had done before dad died. And that checklist can be real helpful in making the settlement of the estate twice as fast, at half the cost, with lower risk, which is the objective. Thanks, folks. Ciao.